So in today's video, we're going to talk about how Behaviour would bring in voice lines for every licensed character in DBD. Recently, we got word that Pinhead's voice lines are returning to Dead by Daylight. This is really exciting for the community to see, and some people are wondering if that means we could bring in more voice lines for more characters. In this video, we're going to talk about the licensing logistics of how that would happen. How's it going, everyone? My name is Schmuckles. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I also stream on Twitch on Wednesday and Sunday nights. The link for that is in the description below. So Pinhead was released on September 7th in Dead by Daylight. However, this version of Pinhead didn't have the voice lines everyone heard on the PTB. This happened to be on Doug Bradley's birthday, and Behaviour actually tweeted out a happy birthday message to Doug Bradley, which is strange because Bradley wasn't at all a part of the DLC. We know this because during the teaser week, Bradley admitted on Twitch that he had no connection with the DLC, but Behaviour still mentioned him on Twitter. We also know that Boss Protocol was not involved in the removal of the voice lines according to this FAQ on their website. So now on the new mid-chapter PTB, the voice lines were back. On the DBD Reddit, somebody asked, are they the same voice lines from before or are they a new voice? Mandy, one of the DBD devs, responded different and with Doug Bradley as the voice actor. I am so excited about this. So there was some sort of interaction between Doug Bradley and Behaviour in between September 7th and January 5th. This begs the question, has Behaviour had any contact with Ashley Lawrence to add Kirsty Cotton into Dead by Daylight as a new survivor? Cote now follows Doug Bradley on Twitter, and Ashley Lawrence is following Dead by Daylight on Twitter. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see Kirsty Cotton added to the video game Hall of Fame of Horror. We've got so many licenses in DBD. Does contacting Doug Bradley for voice lines open the door for more potential voice lines, whether that be for past or future characters? The old lines for the Cenobite were spoken by an unknown voice actor, which were removed for live release without much explanation other than they weren't quite ready yet. Months later, the new Cenobite voice lines were reinstated and expanded, now being voiced by actor Doug Bradley, who played Pinhead in the first 8 live-action Hellraiser films. And again, the first voice lines were likely not Doug Bradley because he had no idea about the Pinhead paragraph during the week before it was released. So now we've seen voice lines for the Cenobite and Ash Williams in DBD. Ash Williams' voice lines were voiced by Bruce Campbell, the actor who played Ash Williams in Ash vs. Evil Dead. These are the only 2 characters in DBD who have voice lines. So it seems like if Behaviour were to add more voice lines, they'd have to contact the original voice actors. This would ensure that the characters would get voice lines that would sound like the actual character, but also they would need to get each actor or actress to sign a contract so Behaviour can use their likeness. Why would Behaviour do this? It sounds expensive and they've already released the content. Well, from a marketing perspective, if they add voice lines for each character, that's going to make every old licensed DLC relevant again. Gamer news articles will cover the new content as well as big DBD content creators, and it will increase the traffic of sales for every DLC they add voice lines to. They could even make it an in-game purchase if they wanted to, and people will buy them.
We can charge anything we want, 2,000 a day, 10,000 a day, and people will pay it.
All of the killers and survivors do make noises. The killer has grunts of pain when stunned by pallets, and some killers like Doctor, Clown, and Trickster chuckle when in chase. The survivors scream whenever hit or hooked. All of these sound effects are voiced by voiceover artists, and none of these voices are of the original licensed character's likeness. If DBD were to bring in more voice lines, they would need to have the likeness rights contracts signed by the original actors and actresses, and the lines of dialogue would need to come from whichever version of the character Behaviour licensed. For example, the Freddy Krueger voice lines can't say anything from the original screenplay, because the version of Freddy in DBD is not the original version from Wes Craven. For the Halloween chapter, Behaviour licensed the original version of Laurie and Michael through Compass International Pictures. Michael is voiced by Frederick Poirier, the senior sound designer on Dead by Daylight. And again, that's just for Michael Myers' breathing sound effects and grunts of pain. Voice lines for Michael don't make sense because Michael Myers never speaks. However, Laurie Strode voice lines would be well received. In DBD, Laurie Strode was voiced by one of the producers in Dead by Daylight, Catherine LaCourse. They have to get the likeness rights from Jamie Lee Curtis in order to have Laurie say any of these iconic lines in DBD. While they're at it, they could also do take 3 on Laurie Strode's facial features and make her look like Jamie Lee Curtis. I had no idea until I made this video, but Jamie Lee Curtis actually played Dead by Daylight in a charity stream, and Behaviour actually tweeted about it.
It's too perfect for you to either play as Mike or to play as yourself. So we're gonna do a couple rounds of this.
Did you call him Mike?
They're close. They're friends.
We're friends.
You're like buds.
You know, Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Would you prefer the full name? Would that make it
M
better?
squared.
No, I call him Eminem.
He's coming by this
That's
afternoon.
a rap name.
So should we play as a survivor first or as the killer first?
Survivor.
All right, there we go. In that case,
Survivor.
So maybe they could reach out to her for this. Behaviour licensed A Nightmare on Elm Street through New Line Cinema, which is the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. Quentin Smith was voiced by Louis McLean, and Freddy Krueger was voiced by Philip Ivonik. Both of these people were game developers for Dead by Daylight at the time. We know that Behaviour didn't get the likeness rights to Kyle Gallner, the actor who played Quentin in the reboot. When the Nightmare on Elm Street chapter dropped, Kyle said on Twitter, "Yo, what? You can play as my character Quentin. I did not know this was happening. I think I may need to get this game now. Awesome." And before Quentin's rework, Kyle said, "Yo, Behaviour, I've been getting hit up quite a bit about my my character Quentin from Nightmare looking like a goblin version of me, and how people want the character to be in my likeness. Just make him look like me, do it. Matthew Cote responded, Mr. Gallner, I sent you a DM. Let's work together and make this happen. So Cote's already opened a conversation with Kyle. Most people probably want voice lines from the original version of Freddy Krueger, which was performed and voiced by Robert Englund. However, Jackie Earle Haley performed the reboot version of Freddy, so I don't know if they could bring in Robert Englund as the voice of Freddy Krueger without contacting whoever owns Wes Craven's estate.
Come to Freddy.
The easiest option for Behaviour would be getting the likeness through Jackie Earle Haley. Behaviour would have to reach out to him for any Freddy Krueger voice lines.
Ted. You're it.
Realistically, Robert Englund seems pretty tired of performing as Freddy Krueger. In September 2019, he said, I'm not Freddy anymore, you guys. I could do one more, probably, if you shot me up with vitamin C. But here's the thing, I can't do 8 more, you guys. So we need a new actor that you guys believe in, trust, and love that can go the distance. Kevin Bacon was named as a possible Freddy Krueger replacement. In 2020, Kevin Bacon said he would be up for replacing Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. A lot of people want to know if Behaviour would be able to get content from the original Nightmare on Elm Street. In 2019, Wes Craven recaptured the rights to the original Nightmare on Elm Street in the US, which was 35 years after he wrote the original screenplay. He passed away, but his estate inherited the rights. So they could license in voice lines from the original Freddy if they negotiated with whoever owns Wes Craven's estate. And while they're at it, they should also bring in a legendary skin of the original Freddy Krueger as well. For the Saw chapter, Behaviour licensed the Pig and Detective Tapp through Lionsgate Entertainment. Amanda Young is voiced by one of the associate producers for Dead by Daylight, Christine Marsh. And David Tapp is voiced by Dave Blake. He's a voice artist not associated with the Saw franchise at all. In order to bring in voice lines for Detective Tapp or Amanda Young, Behaviour would need to contact Shawnee Smith and Danny Glover. Behaviour hasn't worked with either one of these performers before. Any movie villain with a mask won't require an actor likeness unless Behaviour uses their voice likeness. So as of right now, the Pig isn't Shawnee Smith's likeness. Detective Tapp isn't a Danny Glover likeness either. People on Reddit asked why Tapp looks so similar to his character compared to Quentin Smith and Laurie Strode, and people speculated it was because Tapp was the main character in a Saw video game. So there was already kind of a video game likeness for Tapp when they created him for DBD. They could have potentially used that for concept art, which may be why he looks so much better. Ghostface isn't even licensed through Paramount. If you want more information on him and Sidney Prescott, you can click on the title above. Behaviour licensed the Stranger Things chapter through Netflix, and this was a really big chapter for Dead by Daylight. The Demogorgon wasn't voiced by anybody, just through various digital processed sounds. Steve Harrington's voice artist was undisclosed. Diana Goulamont voiced Nancy Wheeler, and she's a project manager at Behaviour. Jonathan Byers was voiced by Robbie Fonts, and he's a freelance voice artist. The likeness of Joe Keery and Natalia Dyer were used to make the character models of Steve Harrington and Nancy Wheeler. Charlie Heaton's likeness was also used to make Jonathan Byers a legendary skin for Steve. So Behaviour's already worked with them. That doesn't appear to be the main problem here. Since Behaviour took the Stranger Things DLC out of the DBD store, likely because Netflix voided the contract, I don't think Netflix would be open to licensing any more content into DBD. The main thing we've learned from the Stranger Things chapter is Behaviour doesn't have to use the actress who plays the character if they use that character's likeness. Nancy Wheeler looks like the TV show's Nancy Wheeler because of the likeness contract with Natalia Dyer, but they used a different voice actress for her voice, probably something that's written in the likeness contract. The Silent Hill chapter was licensed through Konami. Cheryl Mason's voice artist was undisclosed, and Pyramid Head was voiced by Jean-Baptiste Garnier. Interestingly, he's actually a sound designer at Ubisoft. In the Silent Hill video games, Pyramid doesn't speak, but he grunts and moans when in pain. Kate Higgins voiced the Cheryl Mason in the Silent Hill series. I'm not sure of two things here. Since Cheryl Mason is originally from a video game and not a movie, I'm not sure if it would be required for Behaviour to get the likeness of Kate Higgins to have Cheryl voice lines in DBD. They probably would have to if her voice sounds super similar to Kate Higgins, because likeness rights are also required for voice likeness. It is unlawful for the purpose of advertising or selling to knowingly use that person's name, voice, signature, photograph, or likeness without that person's prior consent. None of the other voice actresses from the Silent Hill chapter in DBD were disclosed. However, James Dorton voiced James Sunderland in DBD. He's a voice actor not connected with Behaviour or Konami. Behaviour would need to contact each actor or actress individually for their voice likeness. Behaviour licensed the Resident Evil chapter through Capcom. They brought in 5 characters in this DLC. Nemesis was voiced by Sebastian Crodieu. Jill Valentine was voiced by Channy Crabb. Leon was voiced by Riley McShane. Chris was voiced by Gerard Vachin. And Claire was voiced by Danielle Evans. On Facebook, Chanae Crabb, the voice actress for DBD's Jill Valentine, posted how it was all of their missions to bring metal vocalists into the world of video game voice acting. So all of them are freelance voice artists and aren't connected to Capcom's characters in any way. Tony Rosado voiced the original Nemesis, and David Cockman voiced the remake Nemesis. Nicole Tompkins voiced Jill Valentine in Capcom's Resident Evil 3. These actresses voiced Claire Redfield throughout the Resident Evil games, and Roger Craig Smith voiced Chris Redfield. These are the actors and actresses Behaviour would need to reach out to in order to get their voice likeness if they wanted to add voice lines for these characters in Dead by Daylight. Likeness rights and video game licensing can be kinda complicated. Hopefully this video helped clarify some things. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.